Judge has ordered a man featured in the Netflix documentary Making a Murderer to be freed pending an appeal to overturn his conviction.
I'm just going to come out and ask you, who shot her in the head?
He did.
27-year-old Brendan Dassey was 16 at the time. He and his uncle, Stephen Avery, were accused of the sexual assault and murder of photographer Teresa Halbach in Wisconsin. The two were sentenced to life in prison. The popular Netflix 10-part documentary renewed interest in this case, and in August, a judge ruled that Dassey was tricked into confessing. His release date hasn't been set, but his attorney says he hopes to have him home by the holidays.
All right, joining us now to discuss this case, criminal defense attorney Sara Azari. So what's behind this decision here to just allow him to be home, I guess, for the holidays until this case may be retried again?
Right, to be released. And the prosecution has filed a motion to block his release. They don't want him to be released. And I'm sure they're arguing that it's a dangerous crime, that their case is really solid, because they've appealed the ruling from August that his confession was coerced and that his conviction should be reversed. But keep in mind that even if he's released, he's going to be on very strict supervised release. So his freedom is not unfettered. He's going to have electronic monitoring. He's probably going to have curfew. He's going to have to be accountable to a probation officer and has to abide by certain terms and conditions. But watching this documentary back in the day, a few months ago, I really cringed as a criminal defense attorney because it was a classic confession that was coerced by the detectives. They promised him things that were false. They said he's not going to get in trouble, and of course he was convicted. He is also intellectually disabled. His IQ is very low. So knowing that, I mean, when you hear him, you can tell that he's off, you know. And also he was a teenager, so he was all the more vulnerable and susceptible to essentially agreeing with their narrative when they interviewed him. So I'm really happy about this. I hope that he gets released as soon as possible, and that his conviction, the overturning of his conviction, stands.
So you had this whole storyline played out on Netflix, this documentary, the world watching. What role do you think it played in this?
I think it shed a light on what happens in a lot of these smaller towns and what happens with the failure of our criminal justice system. I think this goes on a lot. We just don't know about it. We don't hear about it. And it's unfortunate when it fails like this. But I think that when there's such a public eye and the media covers cases like this, judges are very careful in taking a close look and doing the right thing. And I think that the fact that there was this Netflix documentary is going to help ultimately both Avery's appeal and his.
You know, a lot of some of the prosecutors, there's other attorneys out there that really stand firm on this and say that he is still responsible for this crime. How difficult would it be for the prosecution to try and overturn this again?
Well, from my understanding, and I basically know mostly what I know from Netflix, like most of us, but my understanding is that the prosecution's case was turning largely on this confession for both Stephen Avery and for Brendan Dassey. And so I think that if this confession is gone, I think their case is going to be much weaker, and I'm not sure that they're going to be able to retry it based on the independent evidence. At the time, the DA, Ken Krantz, said, this was a very solid timeline that Brendan Dassey confessed to. But when you actually listen to the interrogation, he's mumbling and he's saying these one-word things, and it's not a narrative, and actually the narrative comes from the detectives. And so, to a large extent, this case turned on this confession. And so when you remove the confession, I'm not sure how strong the prosecution's evidence is going to be.
What about for Stephen Avery? What happens with his case? Does that still stand?
Well, he's on appeal, and and they're going to decide whether his conviction should stand or not. But again, his case also turned on his nephew's confession.
Right.
So this confession is key, and the fact that it was deemed to be unconstitutional in violation of the Fifth Amendment in August, I think, is a huge step in hopefully exonerating both of these men.
All right. Sara Azari, thank you so much.
Thank you, Sara.
It was nice to see you.